Welcome back. You're watching Global Eye. At least 143 people have been killed at a concert hall in Moscow after it was attacked by multiple gunmen who shot civilians at point-blank range. They used assault weapons to kill civilians before setting the building on fire, causing the roof of the Crocus City Hall to collapse while concert-goers were still inside. This is the deadliest terror attack on Russian soil in 2 decades. Russian investigators said more than 100 people have been reported missing. Terror outfit ISIS claimed responsibility for the attack and shared a video by the gunmen as they stormed the building. But Russian President Vladimir Putin has accused Ukraine of carrying out the attack, alleging there was a window prepared for the attackers to escape to Ukraine. Ukraine has denied this. President Volodymyr Zelensky accused Putin of trying to turn the situation to his personal advantage. Russia has so far arrested 11 men in connection with the attack, 4 of whom are citizens of the former Soviet Republic of Tajikistan. Let me now go across to Ambassador Kanwal Sibal, former Foreign Secretary. He's also been our envoy to Russia and currently Chancellor at Jawaharlal Nehru University. Mr. Sibal, thank you very much for joining us on the program. How do you see the messages coming out of Moscow at this stage? You have the Federal Security Service, the FSB of Russia, clearly saying that this was the work of Islamic radicals facilitated by Western special services. What do you think of this?
Look, it's very difficult to give a definitive opinion, and we don't want to take sides in this matter. But the point is that the Russian president and the FSB director has taken a certain position with regard to the West's involvement in this and Ukraine's involvement in this. On the US side, they had very promptly said that Ukraine is not involved. So where does the truth lie? Now, if one were to make a very objective assessment of things, without taking a partisan position, one has to look a little back in history. Now, for so many years, it's nothing new and nothing related to the Crocus concert hall attack. President Putin has been saying, and he repeated this in his interview with Tucker Carlson, that the CIA was directly involved in the uprising in the Northern Caucasus and in Chechnya, number one. Number two, he has been saying that, or the Russian side has been saying, not he himself, that after the ISIS was eliminated in Iraq and Syria, some elements of ISIS were transported by helicopters to Afghanistan. Now, if you look back, how did jihad come into our region? When the Soviets invaded Afghanistan, then, Brzezinski was the architect of this. The US and Saudi Arabia and others, they mobilized the Islamic world, the most fundamentalists of them, the Wahhabis, to push back the atheist Russians. So they brought jihad to our region, which means that they had a lot of connections with these groups. Similarly, in Syria, Al-Nusra group and others have, in congressional testimony, this has been admitted, trained these fellows, knowing that they were extremists. Now, if you look at this background, then it would not be surprising that there is some hand of Western agencies in mobilizing these extremist Islamic fundamental elements to carry off this terrorist attack in Russia. Now, the other thing is,
right,
which is a bit puzzling.
Ambassador Sibal?
Yes.
Yeah, Ambassador Sibal, what I also wanted to ask you, the significance of the location chosen by the assailants, the Crocus City Hall, the importance of this in Russian history and Russian daily life, and also the manner, the ruthless manner in which the attack was carried out. What are some of the takeaways that you immediately see as a former diplomat?
Well, the same thing happened in the Bataclan massacre in Paris. They chose a concert hall because that is where people are gathered in very large numbers. It's an easy target for would-be terrorists because it's not well protected. Normally people don't expect, administrations, governments, agencies don't expect such terrorist attacks of such brutal nature. So I'm not surprised this happened. And this happened on a Friday. Which again is to pattern. The thought that immediately crosses one's mind is that they have taken lessons from a leaf book that is already known about which are the kind of people you should target. Now, you know that they had also targeted many years ago the theater in Moscow. I've forgotten the exact name of the theater, where a very large number of people were killed, where the Russian forces intervened and used chemical gas in order to deal with the terrorists, but this resulted in the death of many of the people who were present in the hall. So this is to pattern.
Okay, Ambassador Sibal, I'd also like to ask you the manner in which Putin and the FSB head have reacted. Do you expect that there could be some sort of retaliation to this against Ukraine, against the West? Because here you have the Russian leadership clearly saying the Ukrainians are behind this, US is behind this, Britain is behind this, Europeans are behind this. Could this be used as an excuse to increase the offensive and maybe somehow rope in the US and UK directly into the war as well?
No, I don't think so. I think what they are saying is that there is a Ukrainian hand in this. And the whole thing was engineered by the West, especially the US, and they have mentioned Britain. Now, the fact is, there are two facts which are interesting. One is that these fellows who committed the acts, and you've seen the shots on television, they don't look like fundamentalists at all. They seem like low-level mercenaries who were doing this for money. And they were not interested in martyring themselves. In fact, they were trying to run away. And where were they running away to? They were running away to Ukraine, and President Putin has said some arrangements had been made to give them a window of opportunity to enter Ukraine. Now, therefore, one cannot at all reasonably rule out the implication of Western agencies and Ukraine in this. Though, of course, as I said, we have no proof of this unless unless Russia provides some tangible proof of this. We can only go by what they are saying. Now, with regard to retaliation, already they have attacked installations and energy production, energy plants in Ukraine. They've attacked the headquarters of the Ukrainian security forces. And these attacks will be multiplied. There's no doubt about this. But I don't think they'll carry the battle to NATO space, whether it is the United States, the UK. I don't think they'll do that at all.
Ambassador, one final question. Right, Ambassador, we have just time for one question. Very briefly, India right now, and Prime Minister Modi recently had a conversation with the Russian leadership. He had a conversation with the Ukrainian leadership. The Ukraine foreign minister is now in India. What role, considering India is also caught up with election responsibilities right now, what role can India play at this juncture between Russia and Ukraine?
Nothing much, because unless the backers of Ukraine, which is the United States and Europe, the Baltic states and Poland in particular, and now France has said, the French president has said openly that they are willing to send troops into Ukraine, although this has been reacted to negatively by European countries, including Germany. But the point is that on the Western side, there still is a belief that if we keep giving more and more long-range weapons to Ukraine, they can reverse what is happening at present, and there could still be a situation where there is enough damage caused to Russia, which will force the Russians to come to the negotiating table. To my mind, this is an illusion.
Right.
This is not going to happen. But the outlook is not good at all, and we are actually running a grave danger of the whole thing escalating into some kind of a nuclear conflict, if the objective remains to impose a strategic defeat on Russia, which Russia will never accept. It is a very formidable nuclear power, and if its existence is threatened, anything can happen. And unfortunately, the West seems to think that Russia will never go down that road, and they can keep escalating. That they don't want a conflict with NATO, and therefore they have window of opportunity.
Very important views there.
I don't agree with that, but that
Ambassador Sibal, right. Ambassador Sibal, thank you very much for those views. Clearly, we are at the cusp of an escalation, as you're pointing out. We leave it there for the moment. Thanks once again for being with us. Before we wrap, a first high-level visit by a Ukrainian leader since the Russia-Ukraine war. Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba is visiting India for 2 days. His visit follows an invitation by the External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar. Kuleba will be engaging in many meetings, including meetings with Jaishankar and the Deputy NSA to discuss matters pertaining to the bilateral partnership and cooperation on issues of mutual interest. There will be meetings with business leaders as well. With that, it's a wrap on this edition of Global Eye. Thank you for watching and goodbye.